On the 15th of December, residents of France's Mayotte woke up to the deadly aftermath of Cyclone Chido. The once vibrant island located in the Indian Ocean was left in ruins, with homes flattened, roads submerged, and communication networks hindered. Chido is said to be the most powerful cyclone in nearly a century, and the death toll can be in the hundreds and possibly even thousands.
It's extremely difficult to say. I think there will be several hundreds, perhaps approaching 1,000 or even a few thousands. But it is obvious that given the violence of this event, we all experienced it in our flesh, in our family, with our loved ones, our colleagues. I was myself at the command center with all my colleagues. The ceiling of the operational center flew away. We found ourselves facing the storm. Like each of us, we experienced this event. Inevitably, there is a much higher count.
Planet Earth is witnessing a historic series of extreme weather. From the deadly Cyclone Chido, which destroyed France's Mayotte, to the Spain floods, which submerged cities and disrupted daily life. Countries all around the globe witnessed extreme weather events in 2024. Ferocious wildfires, devastating floods, and scorching heat waves. The impact of climate change could be seen in almost every country. From 2024 becoming the hottest year to experiencing some of the most intense cyclones. Here is a look at some major weather events that have affected the world in the year gone by. Mayotte lies in the Indian Ocean off the coast of Africa, just west of Madagascar, and 685 kilometers away from the African nation. It has a population of just over 300,000 and is made up of two main islands. Its land area is 374 square kilometers. Cyclone Chido, a Category 4 storm, tore through the southwestern Indian Ocean, impacting northern Madagascar before rapidly intensifying and slamming Mayotte, with winds above 220 kilometers per hour. Cutting off phones, power, and drinking water. Look at these satellite images. Different parts of France's overseas territory could be seen in before and after Cyclone Chido pictures.
The majority of the houses are made of hovels, so pruning wasn't going to change a thing. All those insalubrious dwellings didn't stand a chance. It really is a war landscape. Around me, I don't recognize anything anymore. There's not even a tree left. The hills, there's not a blade of grass. It's impressive.
Rescuers were racing against time a day after to reach survivors of the deadly cyclone. An air brigade has been put in place from Réunion Island, another French overseas territory on the other side of Madagascar. However, the extent of the damage from the storm and the prevalence of undocumented migrants living in informal dwellings have hindered search and rescue efforts. French Interior Minister Bruno Retailleau arrived in Mayotte on the 16th of December and met officials engaged in rescue operations. He told staff that all means would be mobilized to help people.
If we want things to work well, we're going to pull out all the stops. We will mobilize everything we can mobilize in terms of civilian means, in terms of military means.
The French Interior Ministry said 1,600 police and gendarmerie officers have been deployed to help the population and prevent potential looting. A plane has been sent from France to the French Indian Ocean territory with all essential supplies. French President Emmanuel Macron also pledged assistance to the residents of Mayotte during a meeting with Pope Francis in Corsica. Cyclone Chido also made landfall in Mozambique on the 15th of December, bringing strong winds and a warning of severe damage after leaving a trail of destruction in Mayotte. Footage from UNICEF showed destroyed boats washed up on the beachfront and palm trees swaying heavily. The UN agency said Cabo Delgado province, home to around 2 million people, had been hit hard. As of 17th December, at least 34 people have lost their lives due to Cyclone Chido in Mozambique.
I'm in Pemba, the capital of northern Mozambique's Cabo Delgado province, where Cyclone Chido has made landfall this morning as an intense tropical cyclone, bringing with it very heavy winds and rain.
In the month of November this year, Bomb Cyclone, an intense storm system, swept across US's northwestern region, plunging millions into darkness and shutting down critical infrastructure. Classified as one of the strongest extratropical cyclones to hit the region, it left devastation from northern California to Washington. The cyclone brought hurricane-force winds, torrential rain, and feet of snow, leaving destruction in its path. The storm began as a rapidly intensifying low-pressure system over the Pacific, supercharged by an atmospheric river. A river of water vapor in the sky that dumped heavy rain and snow as it made landfall in Oregon. Wind gusts reached 117 kilometers per hour, while California experienced record rainfall and snow in high elevations. So what exactly is a bomb cyclone? Bomb cyclone is a term used by weather enthusiasts to describe a process that meteorologists usually call bombogenesis. It is the rapid intensification of a cyclone in a short period and can happen during powerful storms.
There's a number of factors that are involved with any storm system to make it a bomb cyclone, but really the most frequent thing that we see is when we have some stronger cold air being pulled into a warmer system.
Abnormally warm ocean temperatures and La Niña conditions in the Pacific supported the formation of several destructive storms. In October, Hurricane Milton rapidly intensified and the storm's maximum wind speeds hit 290 kilometers per hour, making it one of the strongest hurricanes by wind speed ever recorded in the Gulf of Mexico. And in September, Hurricane Helene caused catastrophic damage across several states, including North Carolina, and is the deadliest storm to hit the US mainland since Katrina. The 29th of October, record-breaking rainfall and flash floods hit Spain, causing many casualties, massive disruption, and economic losses. Relentless downpours battered the country for weeks, turning streets into rivers, submerging entire towns, and forcing thousands to flee their homes. Rivers overflowed their banks, inundating cities like Valencia. With no time to react, people were trapped in vehicles, homes, and businesses. Many people died and thousands of livelihoods were shattered.
It has taken us all by surprise. We are still in shock. We didn't expect this at all. And there was an alert around 7:30 or 8 p.m., but it was already flooding. It all happened very fast and we weren't prepared for something like this.
This was chaos. Cars flying or walking through the streets, dragging lampposts, tearing down walls. It just completely flooded everything. It was chaotic, worse than the flood in 1957 here.
Una cosa caótica, peor que la riada.
A massive rescue and relief operation was carried out as the death toll crossed 200. Thousands of volunteers of all ages, walks of life, and different nationalities showed up in Spain's Valencia to help with cleanup efforts. Some came armed with mops and buckets, pickaxes or shovels. Others carried bottles of drinking water and bags of food. The show of solidarity was a bright spot amid the devastation caused by the floods, the deadliest weather disaster to hit the country in modern history. On the 9th of December, more than a month after the devastating floods, a mass tribute was held for its victims. Around 400 relatives of more than 200 victims came to the service to pay tribute to all those who lost their lives. Spanish royals King Felipe and Queen Letizia also attended the memorial service at the Valencia Cathedral. The king was pelted with mud by angry residents just days after the flood when he first visited Valencia. People complained about the late alerts of the torrential downpour and the slow response to find survivors. The year 2024 has witnessed a notable series of typhoons, particularly impacting the East and Southeast Asian regions of the world. Two such significant typhoons were Bebinca and Yagi. Typhoon Bebinca, the strongest storm to hit Shanghai since 1949, made landfall on the 16th of September, bringing China's financial hub to a standstill. Typhoon Bebinca barreled into the coastal area of Lingang New City in Shanghai's east with winds of 151 kilometers per hour. It was the strongest storm to hit Shanghai in 75 years. More than 1,400 flights from the city's two airports were cancelled. So were over 570 passenger trains, disrupting travel plans of people over the Mid-Autumn Festival holiday, a 3-day public holiday in China. On the 6th of September, another typhoon, Yagi, slammed into China's southernmost point, Hainan Island, with winds of 223 kilometers per hour. Yagi is the strongest typhoon to hit Hainan since Ramasun in 2014, which left 46 people dead. More than 400,000 people were evacuated ahead of the storm's expected landfall. After passing over China's Hainan Island, Cyclone Yagi strengthened into a super typhoon, making landfall in Vietnam's Quang Ninh province and Haiphong city. Typhoon Yagi severely affected the Philippines, China, Laos, and Thailand. Vietnam and Myanmar were the worst hit. Hurricanes, typhoons, or simply cyclones. The name differs based on where in the world the storm happens. Depending on the ocean basin in which they form, these tropical cyclones are contemplated with a certain precision by national and regional weather agencies. Extreme rainfall and killer floods struck many parts of the world this year, exposing infrastructure unprepared to withstand such deluges. Look at this. A football stadium turned into a muddy pool. On the 6th of May, the municipality of El Dorado do Sul was flooded after heavy rains hit southern Brazil. The storm affected 385 municipalities in Rio Grande do Sul state, leaving at least 85 people dead and more than 150,000 displaced.
Eu nunca vi uma coisa dessa, nunca vi. Eu acho que isso é sinal do, não sei se é para o pessoal alguma coisa para ver se ser mais humano o que está acontecendo.
These satellite images captured before and after heavy rains show the extent of devastating floods that have destroyed cities and infrastructure. African nations Tanzania and Kenya both were severely battered by floods unleashed by torrential rains. The unprecedented downpours and deadly floods that hit Kenya since March were the most catastrophic the country had seen in recent years. The death toll crossed 200. Experts pointed out that one of the biggest drivers of heavy rain in East Africa is the Indian Ocean Dipole, or IOD. During a positive phase, the waters in the western Indian Ocean are much warmer than normal, and this can bring heavier rain regardless of El Niño. In July this year, heavy rainfall triggered landslides in the Wayanad district of Kerala, India. Over 300 people lost their lives and over 100 were reported missing after hillsides collapsed, destroying the areas below. The state of Kerala sought immediate assistance, leading to the deployment of over 1,200 personnel from the National Disaster Response Force, or the NDRF, Army, Air Force and other emergency response teams. More than 1,500 people were evacuated to safety. This was one of the deadliest disasters in Kerala's history. Due to unpredictable rain patterns, India witnessed continuous floods in several parts too, including Karnataka, Andhra Pradesh and Gujarat. Recent floods struck Tamil Nadu and Puducherry when Cyclone Bengal hit the region. At least 37 people died in Sri Lanka and India in the tropical storm. The country also saw a prolonged heat wave. The government data shows that there were nearly 40,000 cases of suspected heat stroke and 110 people lost their lives in the sweltering heat across the country from March till the 18th of June. China's summer this year saw both extreme heat and devastating floods. In Henan province, many farmers scrambled to irrigate parched crops in the month of June. Just a month later, however, parts of the province were affected by extreme rain that inundated tens of thousands of acres of cropland and forced more than 100,000 people to evacuate their homes. Parts of Henan's hardest hit Nanyang city saw more than 600 millimeters of rain in 24 hours. Torrential rainfall has hit the southern, central and eastern parts of the country in another incident due to a sudden downpour and flash floods. A bridge partially collapsed in China's Shanxi province. At least 15 people reportedly died in the incident. From tackling droughts to floods at the same time, China grappled with extreme weather like never before. The summer of 2024 was the hottest on record. Several places across the globe had to bear the brunt of extreme heat. Italy experienced record heatwave this year as temperatures soared over 50 degrees Celsius. An infrared thermal camera showed surface temperatures exceeding 50 degrees Celsius. The Hajj pilgrimage, a cornerstone of Islam, draws millions of Muslims to Mecca each year. However, the sacred journey turned tragic this year as over 1,300 pilgrims lost their lives due to extreme heat. Temperatures in Mecca soared as high as 51.8 degrees Celsius. It was reported more than 650 Egyptians, 200 Indonesians, and 100 Indians died due to extreme heat conditions. Further deaths were reported by Tunisia, Jordan, Iran, and Senegal. According to the European Union's Copernicus Climate Change Service, 2024 is all set to be the hottest since global records began in 1850. Temperature data from the first 11 months showed the current year is set to eclipse last year to become the warmest on record. 2023 was 1.48 degrees Celsius above the pre-industrial average. Scientists now predict that 2024 will also be the first year to exceed 1.5 degrees, that breaches the Paris Agreement temperature target. Global temperatures are at an all-time high. As 2024 comes to an end, communities continue to grapple with catastrophic floods, severe droughts, and devastating wildfires. Another year and yet another reminder of climate chaos and climate inaction.